The walls begin to close in on the Duncans as choices they've made in the past begin to haunt them in the most unexpected ways, and choices they've made in the present could have crushing consequences. That's the synopsis breakdown for Carl Weber's A Family Business New Orleans Season 1, Episode number 5, and it's titled The Hunt is On. The hunt is definitely on to see who killed Pierre, right? And as of the last episode, the hunt is also on for Skunk. Now, listen, y'all, if there was ever a time to regret running your mouth, Skunk is living it right now. This man done went from snitching for survival to sprinting for his life. And let's be real, he knew what he was doing before he even opened his mouth. Jean LeBlanc is out for blood, period. And Floyd is a straight up executioner now. And Shirley, please, that woman didn't get to the top by playing fair. So the real question is, did Skunk just sign his own death certificate? Because let's break this down. Skunk saw something that he had no business seeing. He knew it was Marquise and Floyd dragging that body out of the casino. And he knew exactly whose body it was because he was there when it all went down. But knowing something and surviving with that knowledge, that's two different things, right? Now, in classic Skunk fashion, he ran his mouth to Jean because that man needed the money. And from what we know about Skunk so far, he spent the majority of his life stealing. And $100,000 is life-changing cash, but is it really worth dying for? And I don't know, I don't really blame Skunk for snitching. But Jean, on the other hand, he ain't the type to just take somebody's word for it, especially not from a man named Skunk. I mean, really, would you? Exactly, and Skunk didn't help the case when he started talking about Floyd knocking off 2 other witnesses. And this is where Jean knew that Skunk was either telling the truth or just saying whatever he needed to say to get paid. And knowing Skunk, this could go either way. But let's talk about the real problem here. Skunk, in all his snitching glory, was riding around with Jean and Saint looking for Floyd. Like, that's not the worst possible decision he could have made. Why is he in the car? He should have just told Saint everything that he knew while he was safe at the casino. I mean, did he think that Jean was just gonna drop him off at home with a thank you card and a check? He should have known better. And clearly that realization finally hit him, right? Because the second that Jean started to check his story out, look into it a little bit more, Skunk did what he does best. He took off running. But in all honesty, Skunk ain't the only one with the problem. Shirley is about to have a fit. She knows that somebody snitched. And she's grilling Jean like a well-done steak, trying to figure out who in the hell at that club had the audacity to snitch on her and her family. And she has to know that Jean ain't that stupid, right? He's keeping his mouth shut until he gets what he wants, which is that security footage from the casino that night. And he knows that something ain't right. First, he gets this trumped up fairy tale from the sheriff saying that his brother got eaten up by gators, in which we all know that that's not true. And Marquise, Midnight Blue's human ATM machine, conveniently paid the sheriff to keep quiet. So yeah, Jean knows that something just ain't right. Things just aren't adding up. And Jean is going to have to put the pieces to this puzzle together all by himself without Skunk's input. But let's talk about Shirley here for just a second, because Shirley is moving like a woman who has something to hide. She's moving like she's a little guilty. She told Jean that Pierre left the casino alive and well. But did he? I mean, how does she know this? Because whatever happened to Pierre, it happened off camera. So we're probably gonna figure this out and solve this mystery like during the season finale or something. And see, this is what Jean is trying to figure out. And now that he's pressing her for security footage, we're gonna find out just how deep this cover-up goes, because one thing about Shirley, she doesn't like to be backed into a corner. And if Jean keeps pressing her, she's gonna have to make a move. And we all know that when the Duncans make a move, somebody ain't gonna make it over to the next episode. Now, what does this all mean for Skunk? I mean, listen, if he thought that Floyd was scary before, just wait until he finds out that Skunk's been flapping his gums to Jean. Now, it's one thing to keep a secret, and it's a whole different thing to get caught telling it. But the thing about Skunk is he's slippery, right? I think that Skunk just needs to leave town. I mean, that's the only way that he's gonna stay safe, right? But if he chooses to stay, I mean, he may not be the bravest, but he does have survival instincts. And if he plays this right, he could just sliver his way out of this one. But if he doesn't, well, it's been real, Skunk. It's been real. So what's next? Will Jean finally get to the bottom of his brother's murder, or will Shirley outmaneuver him before he gets the chance? And most importantly, is Skunk about to be the next person to mysteriously disappear from the casino? And one last question for you guys. Do you think that all of this is happening because Floyd forgot his chicken foot? He left it. Remember, she told him to never take it off, because as soon as he took it off, all of these things started happening to his family. But ain't nothing really happened yet, but it's about to. Drop your predictions in the comments below, because the next episode is gonna be wild. And if you want to know more about that chicken foot, watch this next video.